let it go, catacomb.
Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back to the CSL. My name is Joe Laguitas. I'm joined here today by Ravi, also known as Fear Dragon. How you doing today?
I'm doing quite fantastic today, Joe. We got another awesome lineup for the CSL. I don't think I could ask for anything more.
Yeah, it's definitely looking to be a strong match as we have University of Washington coming out against the University of Chicago. Both these teams definitely have kind of their pocket aces, which are going to be coming out in this first series. And beyond that, we'll get a chance to explore kind of the depth in their roster in those other games, which are going to be players that maybe aren't as familiar to you or me or our viewers.
Yep, but of course, we're going to be starting it off with two players that I think we are both familiar with. It is going to be Zeal, representing University of Washington, facing off versus OMG Banana from University of Chicago. And I really love University of Chicago's nickname, which is Power Overwhelming. I think that's just quite clever.
Yeah, it definitely gave both of us a chuckle there. Now, Zeal, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, has been a WCS Challenger player in the past. So that could be quite a bit of kind of a competitive advantage going into a match like this. He's been on the big stage, so to speak.
Absolutely. I think Zeal has been one of those North American players that has been around for a while and has actually gotten decent results here and there. But I think still was looking for that big, huge tournament result that would kind of set him aside from like the rest of the pack. But OMG Banana, I think, also similar player in the sense that he has had a couple of good results before. And I think one of them was at a tournament that you yourself ran, Joe, wasn't it?
Yeah, he did get top 8 at Cheesadelphia 3. He did fall to the Korean player True eventually, but not before taking a map off him in a best of 3 and getting just one map away from advancing into that top 4. So both these guys are probably going to be looking to continue to make a name for themselves today as we get ready to spawn into our first map, which is going to be Overgrowth.
And I want to remind you guys, of course, while we load up that first game, to check out the wonderful sponsors that make all of the CSL possible. First of all, Band Gaming, great social application you can use to organize your own CSL team or whatever other organizations you want to have, whether it be a guild or a World of Warcraft thing or whatever. And of course, check out Twitch if you're already watching this broadcast on, and Asus, they provide a lot of awesome monitors and laptops and all kinds of cool stuff.
And now that we've done that, let's go ahead and introduce our first player spawning in the top right-hand corner, playing for the University of Washington. It is going to be our blue Protoss, Zeal.
And in the bottom left, we have the yellow Protoss player representing University of Chicago. Give it up for OMG Banana. Also representing Sloth Esports.
Sloth's a really cool team. I really like what they do in the scene. They're definitely trying to make a difference.
You know, they are doing a lot in the scene right now, and I'm a big fan of their team. Not only the current team and Sloth Esports, but of course they used to be known as Team Ascension, which I think a lot of people may know a little bit better as the name. Also, formerly Team.SCA. long standing history in the StarCraft scene.
Yeah, those guys have been around since basically the beginning. It does look like OMG a Banana is going to be sending out a fast probe to scout, wants to make sure there's no shenanigans going on the other side of the map, and wants to feel safe going into kind of a macro game, which as far as I know is his preferred playstyle. He enjoys a longer game of StarCraft. He's not trying to end the game early with any kind of super aggressive type tactics.
Yeah, and, I really haven't seen too much of Zeal's play as of late, but Zeal used to be a bit known as a player that would be a bit more on the aggressive side. He was not afraid to kind of throw out a lot of that really heavy aggression, to throw out some of those all-ins here and there. So I am not too surprised to see slightly defensive play out of OMG Banana if he's at all familiar with Zeal, but we'll have to wait and see. We do see, whoa, okay, hold on. This is not normal in the slightest. We had double Zealots on the way for Zeal. Was that a mistake? Cancels both of them.
I almost wonder, I think Zeal's kind of pinnacle, and when he was playing the most, was Heart of the Swarm, right? And in Heart of the Swarm, I believe it was pretty typical to make a single Zealot and then cancel it when you knew your expansion wasn't going to be under threat. Maybe it's just kind of a case of habits translating.
That was a Protoss versus Zerg thing.
Yeah.
I wonder if he has been getting Proxy 3 gated, and that is like a safety maneuver that he's come up with to help defend against that kind of stuff. Or maybe even just if he's been encountering some Protoss players going for the crazy Nexus first play or something, he just sends it across the map. I'm not too sure. It seems like a really cool maneuver that probably you'd have to ask him about to get more in-depth details about it.
Yeah, but either way, you're not losing much with those two Zealots, other than the production time on the gateways. Obviously, you get your money back when you cancel it. And he is just going to go into Stalkers, which are a decent fighting choice against the Adepts. They can fight them straight up, as long as they have a little bit of kiting potential.
Mm-hmm. All right, first two Adepts are making their way in over here for OMG Banana. And oh, if they had actually finished up over there, they could have caught two sentries completely off guard. Probably killed both of them off, but of course, Adepts don't quite have the vision range that they used to, so not quite able to see the sentries, and Zeal should be able to start getting some damage done to these Adepts.
Yeah, they are going to blink out, or shade out rather, without taking any kind of hull damage though. So that means they can regen and keep poking in, be obnoxious ad nauseum here. And it looks like Zeal could be going for some kind of sentry drop play.
This is going to be pretty interesting, because at the same time, we do have Resonating Glaives coming out for OMG Banana off of just two gateways. I would normally expect to see a lot more gateways off of this, especially with how many Adepts he's already warped down. He's not delaying at all in those warp-ins, so it seems like he wants to get aggressive. It's just a really surprisingly low gateway count to stay on for this long.
Yeah, both players are actually going to be moving out here. OMG Banana with more of the full frontal double barrel shotgun type assault, whereas Zeal is going to be going in with a Warp Prism drop in the back. OMG Banana's aggression is going to hit first as these Adepts do reach the natural base now.
Boy. And this is what I was saying. I mean, there are so many Adepts already out, and there's just nothing here to defend right now for Zeal. Zeal warps in two more Adepts, but that's all that his gateway production can actually support. Photon Overcharge is used to try and buy some time, but even the sentries are going to have some trouble.
Yeah, the Immortal is being chrono boosted out now. Oh no, it's not even being chrono boosted. The Immortal is coming out of the robotics facility soon. These Adepts are going to be shading up the top. Once again, no force field is dropped. They're able to get on top of all of this, but he doesn't commit.
And really surprising, I don't think the Zeal's necessarily playing his best StarCraft right now, because he ends up photon overcharging the pylon that was about to go down. Just kind of, I don't know, just caught so off guard right now. And these Adepts are going to shade into the main base. There's not even going to be real mining going on for Zeal anymore.
Yeah, at this point, he's just dancing his probes around, trying not to lose any more than he already has. I think he's down to just 28 workers. Yeah, that's really rough. The pylon is going to go down, and this is a really hard situation for Zeal.
I think to make matters worse, there is a Dark Shrine coming out behind all this. Now, granted, there is an observer out right now for Zeal, but it's just sitting inside of his main base. If he doesn't actually grab a hold of it, if he doesn't know where it is, then I could cause even more panic mode. He could end up losing more workers as natural.
Yeah, although I will say a lesser player than Zeal probably would have just crumbled and died to that. Zeal's only down 4 workers. One of the big differences we're going to be seeing is that tech disadvantage you mentioned. And also, as we head into this mid-game, OMG Banana is powering up his production quite a bit more, adding on 3 more gateways. That's going to bring him up to a total of 5, and I think it's going to be hard for Zeal to hold any kind of aggression that comes out of that with his minuscule production.
Yeah, that Warp Prism provides a lot of value right now for Zeal, though, because there is quite literally next to no anti-air whatsoever for OMG Banana. He's been warping in pure depths, been warping in 1 sentry, and got some Photon Overcharges available, but Zeal should be able to eventually move in over there with that Warp Prism, get some damage done if he controls well.
Yeah, but I think the bigger story is going to be happening on the other side of the map as all these Adepts move out with a couple of Immortals and a Sentry backing them up. This is going to be a very potent push, and I don't know how Zeal is going to be able to stop it. He does have a lot of sentries, so perhaps Force Fields can play a crucial role in zoning out this army and allowing Zeal to take a favorable engagement here.
That's the problem with the depths, though, is that you don't care about Force Fields. You just shade on in, and guess what? You already forces out 2 Photon Overcharges immediately. One of the pylons is going to go down. Adepts don't even bother to finish their shade. They feel like they can take this fight at the front.
Yeah, and it looks like every single probe is going to come off the line and try to give these units the hug of death, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. The DPS from OMG Banana is so high right now. Really cute Warp Prism micro with these Immortals, but they actually need to get back in the fight there, perhaps staying in the Warp Prism for a bit too long. The Adepts are crashing through the remains of this army, and it's going to be just on the Warp Prisms, but that's it. GG is called, and OMG Banana takes the first map for University of Chicago.
Wow, in a bit of a fashion that I think was contrary to what we were talking about. We knew their playstyles to be a bit more about. Banana, I think you were saying, like some more of the macro games and everything, but he goes in with a really surprisingly aggressive build. And I want to note that one of the really cool things about that style that OMG Banana just went for was that it pumped out so many Adepts and kind of kept them at home, but it was off of just 2 gateways for a very long time. It was this really clever way of kind of rearranging your build so that you're kind of delaying a little bit of your tech just a tad bit. Your robotic ability is a bit later than your opponents, and so on and so forth. But you get a very fast Twilight Council, and you're able to get out very fast Resonating Glaives and get out a surprising number of units just by utilizing all of your warping capabilities.
Yeah, absolutely. But I do think that before we go on to our next match, which is going to be JXP versus Tagged, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to show you guys some awesome information about ASUS. They're one of the sponsors here at the CSL. They make some really great hardware, and if you're trying to be a better gamer, I'd highly recommend checking it out because they make some really good gear, good peripherals, good gaming laptops, even something like a router if you need to upgrade your networking. So after this, we'll be right back with JXP versus Tagged.
All of your wind has gone, and all of the paths you've drawn have sunk to the ocean sand where no one can see. You stand, don't let the dark embrace, cower the dreams you chase under the rust and blood. Don't let yourself give up. then we are far away from where we were. We did what we could. We're light years away from where we stood. The road goes on far from it all. We will start from the start. 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 We will start from the start.
When you reach the end, will you wait for me? Holding out a torch that's lighting up the way. I can't run and I can't crawl, but as soon as I scale your castle walls, I'll try to find you. 'Cause I know I see it all tonight. Oh, I see it all tonight. I want you come alive. I feel the world around us. I see it all.
Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back to the CSL. We're getting ready to hop into a TVT on Vanny Research Station between Tagged and JXP. I think this is going to be a pretty interesting series. TVT is it's a matchup that I think a lot of Terrans are still trying to feel out post Siege Tank nerf, and I'm excited to see how these guys try to handle it.
Yeah, we're getting two mirror matchups back to back, and again versus two big powerhouse schools. I mean, in the previous group stage, we ended up having Washington go 5-2 in their group, and Chicago went 6-0. So, seeing these two teams play, this is definitely going to be a huge determining factor of who's going to come out first or second, etc. in their group.
Yeah, and that's going to be really important for those playoff seeds. You definitely want to get a better seed because once you're in the playoffs, of course, it's going to be single elimination, I do believe, and that is an unforgiving format where seeding can make all the difference.
Absolutely, but we're going to get started as we hop into the game and introduce the players as we start up here in the top side of the map. Vanny Research Station is going to be the teal Terran player. Give it up for Tagged, representing University of Chicago, Power Overwhelming.
And his opponent in the bottom right-hand corner playing for the University of Washington, it is the red Terran player, JXP.
And once again, University of Chicago currently sitting up 1-0 in this best of 5 series. So, got to win 2 more games to take the series and keep their undefeated record going.
Yeah, and I think for the University of Washington, this is going to be a really important map because you never want to go down 2-0 in a best of 5 like that, because it means that you're just one map away from elimination. You don't have any forgiveness. There's no more room for mistakes left.
Absolutely. This is going to be a pretty tough match, of course, I think, though, just because, again, University of Washington is not to be taken too lightly. They are a pretty strong team themselves, but TVT, as you were talking about, has been a pretty strange matchup as of late. As you were saying, the Siege Tank really had a heavy impact on this matchup, and it's still a very important unit, but it's in a different way. And I've got to say, I've been seeing a lot of those 1-1-1 openings going straight up into the two Raven openings. The 2 Raven openings have been really common lately.
Yeah, it's a really powerful way to open. It gives you the offensive potential with the incredibly strong turrets. I'm blanking on what exactly they're called right now, but I think they have the most DPS of any unit in the game at this point in time.
You know what? I've not heard that, but I wouldn't be surprised. 24 damage a shot. They obliterate all kinds of units, including, but not limited to, workers, but also Marines. It's the funniest thing in the world to see Marines, 10, 15 Marines, running away from a Raven that has full energy.
Yeah, and a lot of times when you see those 1-1-1 poke styles that we're talking about, you see just a bunch of the turrets dropped in front of the bio, and they form kind of like a meat shield, and it makes it so difficult to engage. So I think both sides are looking to be aggressive and bust out exactly what we were talking about earlier on in this series. And these builds are nearly mirroring each other right now.
We do have a tech lab coming down a little bit faster for Tagged right now, and that tech lab may end up swapping over to the starport, so we may end up seeing that Raven that we were talking about, whereas it does seem like JXP just going for the reactor and not really going to opt to get anything on that factory for now.
Yeah, these 2 Reapers are going to dart into the mineral line and start looking to do some damage, but there's already a Cyclone out, and that offers a lot of defensive potential. The Cyclone DPS against units like the Reaper is obviously a lot higher than it used to be, and now that the Reapers of Tagged have come and joined up, this attack is going to be pushed away with essentially nothing.
JXP finally getting up a tech lab on that starport, and also getting up a tech lab on the factory. I'm sort of wondering if we missed something in terms of whether or not JXP was investing extra gas into something else, or those 2 Reapers really set him behind, but I do feel like his tech labs are a lot later than I would have expected them to be.
Yeah, and that's reflected in the production tab as we see up here. The first Raven for Tagged is almost 3/4 of the way done right now. Excuse me, JXP's is just getting started, and that's it's going to be unfortunate for our red Terran, as those Terrans make a huge difference when those first engagements take place.
Yeah, Tag does have his tech lab already finished up on that. Doesn't actually have the gas to produce that first siege tank, though. So surprisingly enough, all things said and done, JXP is still going to be able to get out that first siege tank.
Yeah, absolutely. And now it looks like both players are just going to kind of power up a bit here, posture, take their second expansion. But I think the biggest thing to note is that Tagged has essentially uncontested map control right now. JXP does not feel safe moving out. When he lost those Reapers, he basically lost all of his map presence. And that means that Tagged is going to have a lot more information than his opponent going into this next phase in the game.
Well, we do have a Cyclone that's caught a bit far out, and unfortunately Tagged doesn't quite get the Reaper Grenade off on it, so can't really punish it. But with those siege tanks out, JXP, as you were saying, is just not going to be afraid in the slightest of this army.
Now, JXP is taking a pretty fast +1 here after the build that he went for, and he's adding on a couple more racks. I wonder if he's going for some kind of timing poke as we start to move a little bit further into this game.
Yeah, JXP throwing down the auto turret awfully early, and those auto turrets, they do a lot of damage. We were talking about that, but they don't last very long, and they do cost a good bit of energy. So you want to be a bit conservative with them if you can. You can see that the 2 Raven push is going to be slightly weakened by the fact that he did have to throw down that auto turret so early on.
And now this auto turret harass doing a huge amount of damage. 6 SCVs do go down as JXP starts to move out here. Nice timing out of Tagged. And now I think the onus is really on Tagged, or on JXP rather, to do a bit of damage with this push out.
Oh, absolutely. He has to do a massive amount of damage, but Tag still does not have his first siege tank out. It's finally starting up, but I don't think it's actually going to be able to get here in time. JXP may be able to break the front with this.
Yeah, these Marines of Tagged are stepping down this ramp, so he's kind of giving up that defensive setup and instead choosing to take an engagement out here in the wide open parts of the map. A good pre-split coming out of Tagged, and he thinks this is his moment to try to advance on top of that tank. He's going to focus fire down with everything, and it's a nice fight so far, but those auto turrets are offering so much DPS at the back.
Yeah, the auto turret's finally getting a lot of shots off, and you can see that Tag does clean up, but he loses a lot in exchange. At the same time, though, you have to remember how many workers are lost to that Raven harassment earlier on. JXP is still sitting down quite a few workers, and even though, yeah, workers are not the most important unit in a TVT, it's still pretty important to not be behind this far. And another auto turret harassment comes in, killing off even more workers.
Yeah, and the damage is really just starting to snowball. JXP is going to be so behind in his ability to just produce and macro and stay on task with Tagged. Tagged didn't take any economic damage from that attack, as you mentioned. And I think that JXP needs to make something happen in the immediate future right now, or be looking to kind of hyper turtle and make this go out into the super long game.
Well, double Ravens moving up along the top right-hand side of the map. Double auto turrets thrown down. Could actually do quite a bit of damage. The entire army is so far out of position. But how fast is the reaction going to be? We have 2 auto turrets thrown down. 5 worker kills. That's okay. But another auto turret comes down inside of JXP's mineral line. And it kills even more units. 9 have already gone down.
Yeah, this is an absolutely crazy back and forth. These guys are killing each other's workers left and right, but it seems like each time Tagged is just taking the better end of these engagements, and now he drops down a scan. I think Tagged is looking to perhaps start pushing at the front a little bit here.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Tagged is definitely getting the better ends of all of these engagements. You have to remember, he's doing this all with just 1 Raven, whereas JXP just blew all of the energy on 2 of his Ravens. Now, Tagged is going to be moving back in with a Raven at the natural expansion this time. He's going to potentially kill even more units once again. He's got a medevac that he had loaded up, but I think he decides to reconsider. He says, you know what, I'm actually already doing enough. I don't have to risk it.
Yeah, and I think that's the right call. There's no need to attack when you're ahead. Just get more ahead. It's not like JXP has any kind of super dangerous tech advantage that could translate into a killing blow if he's not contained or anything like that. So Tagged is just going to kind of take the soft contain, it looks like, completely use that map presence to have all the information he can need, and continue powering up on a stronger economy.
Yeah, also sort of surprising. I wonder if this is just because he lacks the minerals for it right now, but only producing 1 worker at a time, so JXP is going to take a lot longer to actually catch up in that worker count. But, Tagged loading up 3 medevacs in the middle. The map is scanning, is going to be dropping into the production line at the exact moment that JXP is moving out. And JXP does snag a medevac in exchange for his troubles, but he's going to be losing all of his production.
Yeah, JXP choosing to commit to this as well. He's not turning around to try to defend, so this could get to be a bit of a weird base race type situation. But I definitely favor Tagged as the buildings of JXP are already starting to fall. very quickly, let's go to the other side of the map where JXP is going to be pushing up Tag's ramp. There's a single siege tank in the back to help defend this, and Tag is actually doing a great job of dropping auto turrets on top of this. There's nothing really here to defend this. This is going to get really crazy really quick.
Yeah, and Tag does end up losing the siege tank to the Raven auto turrets, and both of the Ravens do manage to survive, albeit barely, but they do manage to survive. Oh my god, that siege tank, though, is going to be doing so much splash damage. I think he's cleaning up too much of JXP's army. Overall, I've got to hand this Tagged. He's done a great job with defending, even though he loses quite a bit. He's also killed almost everything his opponent has.
Yeah, it's basically just a single siege tank, a Marine, a couple of Ravens, and that's going to be it. The GG is called, and the University of Chicago takes a clean 2-0 lead in this series.
One game away from taking the whole shebang. We're headed into that 2v2, and we'll see whether or not University of Washington can halt the unstoppable juggernauts that have been the University of Chicago so far.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough road for them. They're going to need to reverse all kill. But one thing that's not tough, Ravi, is organizing your CSL team with the help of Band Gaming. Now, what is Band Gaming, you might ask? It's a really cool social app. You can get it on the Google Play Store, the Apple App Store, and it has a lot of features like a calendar, ways to communicate in-group, and they help to sponsor the CSL to make it possible. So if you have a clan or a team or a CSL team, and you're trying to make things better, then why not hop onto the App Store or the Play Store and check out Band Gaming?
Absolutely. And of course, be sure to also check out our other sponsors, Asus, who provide all kinds of monitors and other laptops, gaming peripherals, etc., as well as Twitch, a place that you guys are watching stuff on right now. Be sure to check out the channel and follow it if you are interested in seeing more CSL action.
All right, guys, but we'll be right back with the 2v2 match, so don't go anywhere. You're watching CSL.
Only $14.99.
Don't miss the call. Download Band. Communication made easy.
All of your wind has gone, and all of the paths you've drawn have sunk to the ocean sand where no one can see. You stand, don't let the dark embrace, cower the dreams you chase under the rust and blood. Don't let yourself give up. And all these steps that we take are leading us far away. And all these years are passing each day. Since then we are far away from where we were. We did what we could. We're light years away from where we stood. The road goes on far from it.
Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back to the CSL. We're getting ready to go into our 2v2 match, which should be a lot of fun. We have a ZT and a TP coming up, so a whole lot of Terran in this game, and you get to see all three races represented.
Yeah, always really fun when we end up seeing that in the 2v2. But these definitely have very, very different play styles and how they like to actually play out the 2v2s when you have these two kind of combinations. We'll see how things end up going as we hop into the game and introduce players.
Spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, playing for the University of... the University of Chicago. We have our Teal Protoss Pancakes and our Red Terran Jivan.
And on the other side of the map, we have the pink Zerg player. Give it up for Dead Game. And his teammate, the purple Terran player, Garage Door. Both representing University of Washington, who are one game away from getting knocked out of this series. Of course, it's still a group stage. They're not going to be knocked out of the event or the CSL or anything like that, but it still means a lot because this is that fight for the #1 seed in the group.
Yeah, and I believe two teams from each group make it into those playoffs. So you really, really want to be getting the best score possible. Each series is so important, and we'll have to see if these guys can pull through for the University of Washington, because there's a lot of pressure on them right now.
Absolutely. We already have a spawning pool first coming down right now from Dead Game. Also got up the gas geyser already, so you can go for a pretty quick Zergling speed if you so chooses to, and decides to grab that gold expansion. Why not? It's a nice and easy to take gold for both players on this map.
Yeah, Sludge City is a really interesting map. I used to play a lot of 2v2s, and this is one of my favorite maps to come up with kind of creative strategies on, because both players have access to the gold bases. So you see a lot more like early game aggression. The third is pretty inaccessible except for one. So typically you'll see the Zerg take that third, and the Zerg will just attack on 3 bases nonstop, and the Terran will just attack on 2 bases nonstop because, well, you've got gold bases. Why not attack on that low worker count?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we're seeing that both teams are really going to be going more for the macro-oriented games. It seems like we have our Protoss player Pancakes going to be the last one to throw down an expansion, but all the players end up playing slightly safe. They get out some defensive capabilities for an early cheese, but immediately just start dropping down those expansions and getting ready to take advantage of that play out.
Anyways, we haven't seen too many engagements just yet, but this first Reaper is going to come across, might be looking for an angle to jump in. On Sludge City, I don't think there's a lot of places that you can easily get in, so he's just going to be scouting for proxies, for any kind of cheekiness. You don't want to be caught off guard, and sending your Reaper all around the map is a great way to make sure that doesn't happen.
Yeah, just being a bit extra safe, of course. I think probably looking for proxy Stargates more than anything else, just because he saw that Jivan was going for the command center, and he didn't really see a whole lot from Pancakes other than the double gateway opening, which, by the way, looks like it did lead into a good number of adepts, and is going to be going straight into a Robo, so just the ultimate standard play possible. But we do have Hellions coming out for Jivan, and I'm curious what's going to be coming out of that starport.
Yeah, now Garage Door is getting inside of that base, so he's able to see exactly what's going on. But nothing here is going to really set off the alarm bells. Like you said, it's a super standard way to play this.
Yeah, looks like the front door's open, and a couple Zerglings do make their way into Jivan's base. Gonna be able to do some harassment over here. Even if they don't do a lot of damage, just being annoying and getting additional scouting information is really nice.
And these Zerglings are continuing to run around. Jivan's does have a couple of Hellions of his own out, and the front door is wide open here. If he wants to dive into that gold mineral line, he could probably actually roast quite a few drones with just 2 Hellions.
Yeah, there are a handful of Marines out right now for Garage Door, but not that many Zerglings or anything over here. It's mostly just the Queen defense, so Hellions, just 2 Hellions are really not going to be enough. If those other 2 Hellions had already been able to move across the map, those 4 or 5 Zerglings didn't get into the main base, Jivan probably could have done something like that and gone into that mineral line, or run into the main base and started roasting drones. But I think it's just because he had to stay at home for such a long time, he sort of missed his timing to do so now.
Yeah, it's definitely a bit unfortunate for him. But now both players are just kind of looking for any kind of map presence, any kind of opening. Garage Door does have this medevac out on the map, but does G1 have anything in position to deal with this?
Doesn't seem like it right now. And even the Hellions are sort of out of position. The drop moves into the main base. It's going to be able to start whittling away at whatever Marines are left over here. The medevac, though, provides so much value, even doing some nice pickup micro. Keeping those Marines alive and getting better trades. Ends up losing a few of them eventually and is going to get forced back, but still, really nice micro there.
Yeah, and he's going to continue to poke around here. He sees that there's an opportunity for more damage. Because of that healing beam of the medevac, he's able to take the fight against those Marines and just keep going. Just 3 Marines here, putting a lot of work into the mineral line of his opponents. And I think now they're going to kind of get the heck out of Dodge, but that was a nice drop.
Yeah, Garage Door is really doing a very nice job of not only just doing damage, but also buying his teammate a lot of time. A couple Zergans are also going to be able to swing in, kill off a Hellion, and back the heck out of there. Behind this, I really got to commend how exactly Garage Door and Dead Game are playing this. Dead Game has just been powering up like an absolute madman. He's getting up a couple of roaches now, but he's been able to get up to the 3 bases very safely. And Joe, you mentioned you play a lot of 2v2s. Getting up to 3 bases in a 2v2 really quickly is not actually a very easy task.
No, and what's really important to note is that this kind of in-base third that players have to kind of choose and argue over who actually gets it isn't claimed yet, which means that either Dead Game is going to be able to go up to 4 bases very quickly, or Garage Door has a relatively easy third if he cleans up his teammate's creep.
But all right, we do end up seeing that players are just going to be continuing to build up that supply, but you just notice in the supply counts, Garage Door and Dead Game are absolutely leading up right now in that supply count. They are going to have a much better time moving into the later stages. And I think that if G1 and Pancakes from University of Chicago are a bit too idle, they're going to be running into so many problems later on in the game.
Yeah, I mean, they have so little map presence as well, which is really important in 1v1s or 2v2s here. Whereas the creep spread of Dead Game is just kind of allowing him to have a pretty good idea of the vision right outside their base. There's units spread all over the map, Overlords and Zerglings, just making sure that there's no kind of sneaky bases being taken, nothing being ninja'd right now. And I think that map presence is really going to help them just continue to take control of this game as we move into the mid here.
Yeah, I mean, it just even goes to show you G1 now getting up Stim and, of course, his +1/+1, but Stim is so late compared to his opponent, Terran. Garage Door, who has Stim finishing up, already had finished up combat shields, already has +1 weapons finished up. And that just goes to show you, I think even if G1 and Pancakes tried to move out a little bit earlier on, they wouldn't have exactly had all of the tech and all the things that they needed in place. Maybe Pancakes would have been okay. He has a lot of these Immortals, he has some of these Archons, but I think this is maybe going to be a big one kind of timing push where they use Charge, they use Archons, they use all of the upgrades they've been going for and try and get something happening. Oh, nice Widowmine placement.
This is a fairly scary army with those siege tanks shelling away at the back and the huge gateway meat army up front. I think this engagement could be the moment of our southern team here as they start pushing through. A huge amount of Ravagers and Roaches getting right on top of this, but there's so much DPS coming out of this Protoss army. The Terran Concave, though, is starting to whittle away at this, and it looks like Dead Game and Garage Door are taking the lead.
Oh, they're going to take a massive lead. Those siege tanks for Garage Door siege up so much earlier than G1. And just as you were saying, getting a huge concave on their opponent, a couple of the Ravager shots, things just went amazingly well, I think, for University of Washington over there. And it seems like they're going to be able to take an even bigger advantage. They might be able to siege up this third expansion.
Yeah, they could definitely be looking to do that. One Immortal gets its barrier popped, and that's going to really weaken the defensive potential of Pancakes and G1 here. This Zerg army desperately wants to crash up that ramp, but it's not going to just yet. The moment for the engagement isn't right. But the Terran army is going to be poking up here. They have a bit more ability to pull back quickly, and now I think it's the time. Those Ravager shots are going to go down on top of the tank, and that's a huge amount of the defensive potential gone.
Yeah, third expansion also ends up falling. You can see that in the supply counts. We have both of the players from University of Washington leading up almost 50 to 60 supply each, totaling 120 supply more right now for University of Washington. And I don't know, Joe, that's a lot of supply to be up right now.
Yeah, I think any kind of hold is going to rely on absolutely miraculous photon overcharges here. This Mothership core only has enough energy for 2 photon overcharges right now, and there's not great pylon positioning now that those forward ones have been cleaned up, and it looks like this army is just kind of crushing on through. This is going to be brutal.
Yeah, I don't think there's much left that you can do over here. It seems like Dead Game and Garage Door are going to charge on forward, taking out the natural expansion of the Terran player G-Von. And it seems like University of Chicago will be dropping a game 2v2. Not going to be able to just get up the 3-0 clean sweep.
Yeah, here they go. That's the first GG. The second one should be coming in just a minute. And I guess G-Von wants to hang on here.
Yeah, he was doing a little bit of medevac drop harassment inside the main base of his opponent, but not able to make the same kind of damage happen. GG gets called. University of Washington puts one on the board.
Yeah, and that's going to be really important for them. They've still got a long road to go, but hey, got to start somewhere, right?
Yeah, gotta do what you can. But we'll have to wait and see as we get ready to hop into that Archon mode match. We're going to be seeing a return of Garage Door and Dead Game once again. The dynamic duo coming out in the Archon mode match. And hey, if they can pull this one back, they will have single-handedly, and by single-handedly, I mean double-handedly, because it's a team of 2, brought their team back to the from the brink of death.
All right, guys. Well, we're going to be right back, but before we go, I just want to take a quick moment to thank our sponsors. Once again, thank you to Band Gaming. We've told you a bit about them already, but you can check them out on the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store. They've got some great social features for organizing a clan or team. Thank you, of course, to ASUS, who makes terrific hardware. Keyboards, mice, monitors at the LAN center that I work at. We actually have all ASUS monitors. They're 144 hertz. It's like the best value on the market. They're terrific. And, of course, Twitch themselves. So if you're watching the platform on Twitch and you don't have an account, go ahead and make one. That's a great way to say thank you. And don't go anywhere because we're going to be right back with that Archon match.
Ben, Sam, and Ken are on separate journeys to defeat the menacing Vile Dragon. But let's just say luck isn't on their side. If only there was a way for them to find each other and band together. Well, that's why there's Band. It's a mobile app that allows people to come together using common interests. With Band, you can find fellow gamers, chat, schedule gaming sessions, and conduct polls. Stage epic battles with friends while sharing videos and photos along the way. So try Band today. Band. Be together.
All of your wind has gone, and all of the paths you've drawn have sunk to the ocean sand where no one can see. You stand, don't let the dark embrace, cower the dreams you chase under the rust and blood. Don't let yourself give up.
Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back to the CSL. We're going to be getting ready to hop into our Archon match, which of course, if you don't follow StarCraft too much, it's when you have 2 players on each team controlling one army. Offers some really exciting games, definitely has a different kind of pace and feel to it. How are you feeling about the return of the dynamic duo here, Ravi?
I'm really liking it. I love when teams kind of have those designated players that are the specialists for just working together, whether it be in PvP or for the Archon mode match. And we'll see if they can actually bring this back from the brink of death again. They were down 2-0, now only down 2-1. Still 1 game away from losing the series, though. And we'll see whether or not Tagged and Gvon from University of Chicago can close this out for their team.
Yeah, and once again, this is going to be Daybreak. This is a map that it feels like it's about as old as time at this point, right? So we should have a lot of cool kind of strategies, things that people have figured out to do here.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting because I can't wait to see what Terran players are doing in TVZ and Archon mode matches, because the last time I saw an Archon mode oh, okay. Yeah, I was going to say, this was originally slotted to be a TVT.
All right, so I guess we'll remake here.
Yeah. For those who missed it, it seems like that was supposed to be a TVT, but they accidentally spawned as Zerg. So, gotta remake that.
It happens to everyone, unfortunately.
Yeah. You know what would be a great addition to StarCraft is when you hit the play again button, if it just invited back all the people that were in that last game.
Yeah, we should let the Blizz dev team know, because I would like that too, as someone that has adminned quite a few tournaments.
All right, well, we're gonna try. Man, that would actually be really great, especially for big tournaments where you would just be able to invite in all the observers that were there as
and
well.
like the 70 different languages casting and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man, there are some serious pains over there in getting all that set up.
Yeah. Do you remember back when like people would sneak into lobbies and like spam in the middle of games? I'm glad that doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah, that used to be because of some bugs that would exist in the old BattleNet versions where you could actually... Oh god, it was so annoying. You could... I believe you could join off of people from a chat channel that you shared together. A chat channel, or if you were just like, not even real ID friends, if you were just like friends. There was a bug where sometimes you could join off of them.
Yeah, I remember back in my journalist days, I tracked down some of the people that did that and talked to them about how they did it. And they had, like, the guys that were doing it consistently had ways that were, like, a little bit trickier. I guess StarCraft lobbies are actually hidden IRC channels. And, like, there were ways to backdoor into them if you knew all of the paths and whatnot. So, thanks, Blizzard, for fixing that, because that was awful.
All right, I think that the players are ready once again. We're hopping into it. Daybreak once again for a Terran versus Terran. Joe, predictions, go.
I say the Terran wins.
Risky play. Hey,
No, I've got my money on the dynamic duo here.
all right. Well, we're going to be starting up here in the top right-hand corner of the map, top of the purple. Terran players, give it up for Garage Door and Dead Game, the dynamic duo from University of Washington.
And their opponents in the bottom left-hand corner playing for the University of Chicago. It is Tagged and Gvon.
Joe, I'm gonna go ahead and in the early portion of this game, while nothing is really happening, just the fact that we have Garage Door and Dead Game, the dynamic duo, teaming up once again, that committed team bonding experience that they have for the Archon mode and the 2v2, I'm going to give them the Band Gaming Band Together Award, just for the fact that they are sticking together for these team matches.
Yeah, it's definitely an apt award. These guys are team players, so to speak. They clearly work together. They're the designated team guys, and I think that's cool to see. We love seeing teamwork come out of people. And so yeah, go check out Band Gaming, guys. They do the CSL a lot.
Okay. Well, as I was talking about in the last game, TVT has definitely been pretty interesting. Okay, I was a little bit afraid, man. I had some internet issues on Tuesday. I thought that was me. Scared me. Okay. But yeah, I was talking about how TVT has been pretty interesting since the patch. This is the first Terran match in general that I've seen in an Archon mode game since the Siege Tanks got changed. And oftentimes in Archon mode matches, you end up giving your teammate or one of the Archon mode partners a medevac and a Siege Tank. And they would just go ham with it. But you don't really get to do that anymore. So what are going to be the big micro units now?
Yeah, I guess we'll have to see. I'd expect it to still be very drop heavy, just maybe with a different composition in those medevacs. Drops with Terran are obviously one of the biggest ways you can kind of abuse the higher APM that Archon gives to you. And I'm excited to see what solutions these guys come up to, because they seem like guys that practice together.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. I'm also really curious actually now, as I look at the APM tab, I've never looked at the APM tab in an Archon mode match. Do you think that's just for one of the players, or if it's the combined might of both of the players in the APM?
I believe it's actually an average, not a combined.
Okay.
Like I forget exactly how it's calculated, but it's based off both of them, but it's not a straight like adding them together as far as I know.
University of Washington is pretty impressive then, man, because that's an average of 405 APM in that case.
Yeah, that's pretty damn fast for these two guys. We do see both these builds being very similar here, although I thought I saw a Cyclone being started up on blue. Was I mistaken there?
There are 2 Cyclones out, 1 Cyclone for each player, and it seems like right now we do have University of Washington, University of Washington, going to be pushed back across the map.
Well, it does look like the University of Chicago is going to be stepping out here, looking for something to make happen as they kind of bounce around here on the north part of Daybreak. And they're going to be potentially poking in soon with this little Reaper Hellion Cyclone squad.
Yeah, and as you would sort of expect, for the most part, we do end up seeing pretty much typical TVT builds. We got the first couple of Ravens coming out for both of these players. We have the double Reaper plus a Hellion and a Cyclone coming out for both of these players. Oh, actually, no Hellion. It's going to be a Widowmite instead, it seems like, for University of Washington, as they do land that or plant that up on the high ground, while also getting up a faster expansion than their opponents.
The Widowmine on the high ground, it's a really nice defensive move, but it definitely limits their kind of mobility and move out potential. And you can also see that reflected in making a Marine. The University of Washington is not looking to be quite as aggressive perhaps in this early game as the University of Chicago is looking to be.
Yeah, I think they lost that first Reaper earlier on in the middle of the map, and I think after that happens, you just know you're down further in units, and getting a bit of lag.
Yeah, I'm seeing it too. I think Tagged might be having some internet issues.
Yeah, really unfortunate. I know that OMG Banana was having some internet issues originally, but he managed to get them resolved in time for his match, and now pass them on to Tagged. Oh, man.
I guess this is...
Oh, okay. That's less than ideal, I think, right now for Tagged, and I really hope that wasn't because of the lag spike, because they just lost, like, everything.
Oh.
Well, was he the micro player? I feel like it may have been the case.
Yeah, it definitely seemed like it. Tagged is a high-level player. He's in Masters. He's been in GM in the past. And that's not the kind of micro mistakes you'd see from that kind of player.
Yeah. All right, it looks like we're going to resume from replay. That was pretty clearly just a display of somebody was not actually able to play at all, and that was probably the micro player.
Yeah, hands off the keyboard.
Yeah. I think we'll probably end up rewinding at maybe like 420 or 425 or something.
All right.
That happened at 433. I think 425 would be pretty fair.
Well, guys, I'm going to throw it to some music while we sort through these issues, but don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with the rest of that Archon match.
has gone and all of the paths you've drawn have sunk to the ocean sand where no one can see. You stand, don't let the dark embrace, cower the dreams you chase under the rust and blood. Don't let yourself give up. And all these steps that we take are leading us far away. And all these years are passing each day. Since then we are far away from where we were. We did what we could. We're not years away from where we stood. The road goes on far from it. We will start from the start. 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 We will start from the start.
Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back. We've got both of our players into the correct places, and I think we're getting ready to resume from replay here. You got that nice little countdown, and here we go.
All right, and now we end up seeing that, yes, players have control of everything, and this time University of Chicago is not just going to end up losing all of their units to a Raven and a couple of units moving down from University of Washington, so they're able to escape out of there on time. And we did see a bit of harassment happening. 3 workers do go down, I believe, to some Raven harassment, auto turret harassment.
Yeah, really cute plays there. Getting a couple of workers here and there can make a big difference in a mirror matchup because you're working with exactly the same tools, obviously. And I think Tagged and Jivan have already taken a bit of a lead here as on top of those couple of workers, they've already landed their second command center into the natural expansion.
Oh yeah, and also 2 Ravens passing in the ships in the middle of the night. The bottom side of the map don't quite manage to see each other, but both of them gonna be going for the same thing. Harassment on those mineral lines. Now, it does seem like Garage Doors and Dead Games Raven is gonna be arriving a little bit faster. We'll see how much damage they can get done.
Yeah, now it looks like a Garage Door and Dead Games Raven is gonna land. Tagged and Jivan's got 3 workers, and this puts a little bit of chip damage into a supply depot. Oh no, it looks like it did pick up a couple of workers. So trading almost even there. And I think these trades are just going to keep happening.
Yeah, I've got to hand it to both of these teams. Really, really good reaction times, as you would expect for a TVP, but they are just so ready to move their units out on just a very, very small amount of notice.
Yeah, I think that's one of the big advantages that we see in Archon mode. You just have so much more kind of APM and awareness to work with because you have two people babysitting everything instead of just one. So it's almost inexcusable to have the kind of mistakes you'd see in 1v1, and right now it looks like these guys are on top of their game. They're not making those mistakes, and a little more harass is going to come in here.
Yeah, still only losing 2 workers, and the Cyclone cleans up the auto turret very, very quickly. And I've got to hand it to them because it's a lot easier said than done to kind of have that coordination, because it does require coordination. Oftentimes, yeah, you both may notice, but who is going to be the one that moves those units out? Who's the one that is busy macroing? It's all about separation of work and duties, and both teams are actually doing a pretty good job of it.
Yeah, it does look like if we look at the workers lost tab, Tagged and Jivan have taken a significantly better end of all this. And that's going to culminate in them having this big double drop coming in the back. There's just a Cyclone here to defend it, but I think they can drop right on top of it, and all these units are coming out. They're going to be getting into this mineral line here. There's actually a tank, and that's going to be really hard to push into. This is a pretty deadly position that Tagged and Jivan have set up.
Yeah, even an auto turret was dropped inside the natural expansion just to distract them a little bit longer, but now the SCVs are being pulled front facing to try and absorb as many shots as possible. 9 workers go down at the end of it, and 1 medevac falls, but the other medevac makes it out of there. Tagged and Jivan going to be very happy with the damage that was done.
Yeah, a bit of counter harass did go down during all that. Managed to clean up 4 workers, and Tagged and Jivan actually haven't sent these workers back mining yet. So that's a bit of an unforced error there with some lost mining time, but I still think that our blue Archon is going to be in the favorable position here.
Yeah, I mean, if you just actually hit escape, you can see that idle time in the bottom right-hand corner. That's how long workers have been idle this game, that we're not mining, not building, not doing anything. And you can see even there, Garage Door and Dead Game both behind. They've lost a lot of idle time. In fact, losing a bit more as another auto turret goes down in that natural expansion.
Yeah, that's going to be pretty painful for them. The idle time appeared to stop working for me, but that's okay. It looks like Tagged and Jivan are going to be pulling back from this. They don't want to take that fight just yet, and Garage and Dead Game, sensing the hesitation here, are going to go for a double drop inside the main.
Well, this could get some damage done. There are a couple Marines around, but not reacting immediately. They're going to get taken out very, very quickly, and this could be their big opportunity to kind of counterbalance the damage they've taken.
Yeah, and this army is just going to power on through everything here. Now the Marines are finally going to be pulled up here after the command center takes some pretty significant damage, and it's time for Garage and Dead Game to get out of there. They do not want to be overstaying their welcome and losing those units.
Yeah, I really like the damage they got done on the worker lines and everything. Going after the command center, I think, is a little bit over ambitious. Maybe they kind of were surprised by how long it took for the Marines to react and thought, oh, maybe they're just going to try and bring it into a base trade. Let's go after the command center. But really would have loved to have seen them go after some of the reactors, the tech labs, those kinds of things for that guaranteed damage.
And it looks like another drop coming out of Tagged and Jivan is going to be happening here. The reaction is very good, though, and they actually end up losing the medevac, which is a bit unfortunate for our blue Archon. But I don't think they're going to be dissatisfied in any way, shape, or form with kind of how this early drop back and forth stage of the game is gone.
Yeah, bit of a misfire from Tagged and Jivan. I think they end up accidentally attacking one of their own siege tanks for a moment. Doesn't end up dying, though, so it's going to be all well and good, and going to continue to rally in more units. Man, this auto turret harassment has just been absolutely brutal. Constantly killing so many units.
Hey, Ravi, I have an interface question for you, because I know you've used this a bit more than me. I somehow brought the production tab to the lower right-hand corner.
Tilde?
Tilde? Oh, okay.
There we go.
Thanks a lot. Now we're going to be seeing some skirmishes happening out here, but right now both sides are kind of just trying to consolidate their position and their army. Garage and Dead Game are going to be trying to catch up on the workers here.
But just look at the map control and the vision that University of Chicago has right now. They literally just have Reapers and Marines spread all around the map. There's not a chance that a medevac drop could really get out all that easily on this kind of map right now. So it just gives so much control to University of Chicago.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough situation. University of Chicago actually taking that third already and getting powered up on there. We can see they have a pretty significant worker lead, and now they're actually going to feel comfortable pushing up this ramp. If they could catch that medevac, that'd be absolutely huge, but it does manage to get out the back just in time with the boost.
Yeah, looks like 2 SCVs rallied over to the third of Garage Door and Dead Game. A little bit awkward, but maybe they'll find something else to do. Maybe they'll build some missile turrets or planetary fortress over there. In the meanwhile, we have a triple medevac drop coming on the main base. Siege Tank is going to be sieging up, but it's getting focused right down. It does get taken out, and it seems like that's going to be too much. Tagged and G-Von end up backing out, but still get 5 workers killed and do a decent bit of damage.
Yeah, I think overdropping could be one of the most dangerous things that the University of Chicago could do right now, though. Just because they have that big economic lead, and you really don't want to get all your units caught underneath Marines.
Yeah, looks like there was a bad rally point coming out from Tagged and G-Von. I think maybe one of the players, the micro player, accidentally grabs control of a command center, a scan or something, and accidentally right-clicks over. But, looks like it's been resolved now. And again, TVT is so much a battle of just vision and control and good positioning. Tagged and G-Von are just winning it so unbelievably well.
All right, well, it looks like Tagged and G-Von are going to be looking for some right side positioning here. This is a pretty narrow choke, so you can actually get funneled into kind of a meat grinder if the tanks are set up, but it looks like they're backing off right now. So here's a chance for Tagged and G-Von to kind of siege up and set up a powerful position on this right flank.
Yeah, good use of that Raven, still doing that auto turret harassment, forcing the entire units, all the units back. And one siege tank already gets sniped off. Second siege tank is going to get focus fire down, and that leaves Garage Door and Dead Game with very few units. Even though they're going to be able to clean this up, they've lost all of the siege tanks, and that is the big deal.
Yeah, and G-Von and Tagged can afford to trade in effectively, and we see that happening as GG is called. Dead Game's going to stay in this for a bit more, it appears, because it's not over till the Fat Lady sings. But I think that could be it as these Vikings come in and take unquestioned air control. GG.
Yeah. Dead Game is called, or should I say good game? But either way, we end up seeing the 3-1 going in favor of University of Chicago. They do end up dropping a single map, but still, they are, in fact, power overwhelming. Undefeated so far in the CSL for the season.
Yeah, and that is going to be it for our series today, guys. Before we go, I think it's important to take one final moment to thank our sponsors that make all of this possible. Of course, Band Gaming, great social life, told you a lot about them. I think the biggest thing you can say right there is if you have a clan or team, just go and check them out. They have a lot of great organizational social features that will help you get your team picked. So go on to the Google Play Store, go into the App Store, and download it. It's really happy. Start playing with it right away.
The fireplace that you're watching this broadcast on. Check out the channel as well. Follow us on StarCraft. As well as some other games. Much love to our last sponsor, Asus, provide all kinds of monitors, desktops, and laptops. If you're looking for anything computer related, go check out Asus. They have a really, really great lineup of products.
Alright guys, that's going to be it for us. We'll play a couple ads in case you want to learn more. And other than that, see you next week in the CSL. I'm Joe. You can find me on Twitter at Joe Guidis. And Ravi, you want to tell everyone where we can find you?
Find me at Pure Dragon.
Alright guys, so thanks a lot.
Only $14.99.
Don't miss the call. Download Band. Communication made easy.